Hey biscuits, how you guys doing? Today is, let's see, what is today? Today is Thursday the 23rd. And if you remember, the 23rd is one of the dates I was given. So, I guess we'll talk about what's going to happen today. Uh, Anything of significance. Um, in the next video, right? Because we're just beginning this day. Sorry, I'm so thirsty. Uh, Shout out to my iced tea dealer. Keeps me supplied in my iced teas. I don't do coffee, and that's probably like literally the only thing my husband and I have in common. We don't like coffee. We just don't like coffee. So, hey, our marriage is, you know, built on the fact that neither one of us like coffee. Go us, right? So, yesterday I put out a really short on YouTube about the White House construction, and I gave my thoughts on it as well as a prediction of what I was given regarding that. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's under the Shorts tab. I'm not going to rehash that stuff, but and somebody said, "Oh, I love the shorts," and I literally never think of doing them. Um, but a lot of times I get like these things that come through and then they pass, and that's a good way of putting them out. And I was given that yesterday from my buddies on the other side, right? They just showed me put out the short. Duh. So, thanks to them, and thanks, for their being smarter than me, right? I never said I was the smart one here, okay? So there's like so much to talk about, but I do want to say that we just began the Mercury retrograde shadow period. And as you all know, Mercury goes retrograde 4 times a year. Um, 4 or 3. Now I'm drawing a blank on that. But anyway, it goes retrograde a minimum of at least 3 times a year. And during a Mercury retrograde, anything affecting, and because it's such a close planet, and because um, it is one of the inner planets, what we call in astrology, right? It kind of has a much more direct effect on us, and Mercury affects communication, travel, documents, um, which are, all those areas are kind of broad if you think about it, because it's, communication between people, it's communication, you know, on the airwaves, on the internet, etc. Okay, this Mercury retrograde will happen in Scorpio and then in Sagittarius. Sorry. So Scorpio and Sagittarius. Scorpio is an extremely intense water sign. Okay, and the intensity of Mercury being in Scorpio is that, and as well as in Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is a fire sign, and it will do its retrograde in both of those signs. Okay, things are going to be pretty intense. Okay, as far as communication goes. So, although it's not retrograde yet, that won't happen until the actual ninth. But what happens is it starts its shadow period. It starts slowing down, getting ready to go in that actual retrograde period, and we are in that now, that shadow period where it's slowing down. So you're going to start seeing things slowing down, but not only slowing down, the intensity of communication, okay, between others, things may get a little heated, a little bit angry, okay, um, extremely passionate about, you know, how you're speaking, how you're feeling. And you know what? I'm all for it. Sometimes that way has to, our feelings and our what we have to say needs to come out. And sometimes it can't always come out, hey, you know, this is what I'm feeling, right? No, it's like, hey, yo, come on, hear me, damn it. You know, it's like what I have to do to my husband sometimes. Like, come on, you know, are you listening? Do you hear me? But anyway, he being a Sagittarius is kind of always like that, all right? So it's kind of shocking to him when I get like that, because I'm more of like, you know, my temper is definitely there. Um, and I can go from 0 to 100, but my triggers are much different and much more spread out. Typically in the car, as you guys know, or if I see injustice, that I 0 to 100 with injustice, somebody treating someone else bad, I'm speaking out. I don't care where I am, who's around, I'm speaking out. And that's kind of my trigger. So anyway, excuse me. So during this shadow period, you're gonna start to see things, you know, intensify, um, picking up anything to do with communications, document signing, or documents. Read them carefully. And I'm going to tell you guys when Mercury actually goes retrograde. But also, you know, in your communications with others, sometimes it's great just to clear the air, get things out, right? It's okay. It's okay. Um, and I just want to say, too, we're planning a trip in December, and I purposely made sure I made my trip plans, bought the tickets, etc., before this shadow period began. Now, does that mean that, oh my God, we're now in the shadow period, I can't make plans for a trip? Absolutely not. What it means is that you have to be super duper careful. Read over everything twice, look at everything, make sure you're not missing anything. Okay? Just be super duper careful. Also, I purposely try not to travel during an active Mercury retrograde period, because things can just kind of get, you know, crazy. They can happen just out the blue. Um, but if you do decide to travel, again, show up early. Um, just be more aware, more conscious, you know, of things. There's just a big hiccup during a Mercury retrograde. Okay? It's just a huge hiccup. So, caution is, you know, and honestly, Mercury retrogrades are awesome for the people that just don't pay attention to anything, because it forces them to be a little bit more cautious, um, about things, a little bit more careful, a little bit more conscious of the details. It forces them. Um, I'm not going to say which one, but I have a family member, immediate family member, that is extremely like careless about things. And during the last Mercury retrograde, they lost their wallet. They traveled, and that was like a super nightmare. Um, and it just kind of gave them a whole different method of acting and looking out for things. Okay, it forces you to do that. All right, so all right. Also, outages. Okay, and remember, like stuff can break and does break during a Mercury retrograde, especially things to do with travel. Remember the last retrograde, we were all, so many of you, myself included, were complaining about car breakdowns, right? I had several. And since I have a couple cars, I had problems with both cars. And so many of you reported the same thing. Okay, so yeah, if something's going to break, like computers, it's going to happen during the Mercury retrograde. All right. Let's talk about some snapbacks, right? That karmic rubber band that's hitting these Republicans super big. I'm going to keep giving you guys examples of them every video I do. Sorry about that. That was a FaceTime call coming in. All right, the snapbacks. I'm going to give you constant examples of these snapbacks on these Republicans and their actions as reinforcement that, hey, um, the universe doesn't just like sit there idly by. Things must balance. Things must be at that null point. And if they're not, eventually the energy will force it into that null point, right? And so that's part of the snapback or karma or the boomerang effect, as I sometimes use, right? So, um, I don't know why this is doing this here. Oh my. I hope the video is okay. All right. Trump nominee Paul Ingracia was withdrawn after his racist and Nazi tweet. So he was nominated by the administration, and then it was discovered that, hey, he was a huge racist Nazi wannabe guy. And so he just withdrew himself from nomination. Don McCon truly wanted him in his position to lead a federal watchdog agency, right? This guy. Anyway, he's gone. He's out the picture. The cartel has put hits out on ICE. Okay. Now that's not something that we get behind, but it just goes to show you those are the type of energies being put out by this administration, and it's kind of come back. And the cartel, and there's several cartels, of course, but um, they don't play, and they have the resources, the funds, and the wherewithal to kind of, put their wishes into action, okay? And they have put out a legit and active threat against ICE agents. So that's kind of interesting. Stephen Miller posters are showing up all over DC, and they are posters calling him all kinds of derogatory names. I won't even kind of get into what those all are, but let me just say that he is not happy. Okay? And what can he do about it? You can't stop people from putting posters up on flagpoles or, wherever they're showing up everywhere. And as soon as, the police are able to take him down, more going back up in DC. So, you know, oh well. Cash Patel got slaughtered, right? Um, he posted a happy Diwali message, uh, on Twitter, and MAGA just eviscerated him, proving that, hey, he is not one of them, and they sure did let him know it. I won't even get into some of the things. I did see several screenshots of what they were saying. Oh, gosh. But, it goes to show you how um, people like him, Vivek, Byron Daniels, Tim Scott of South Carolina, all these minority people that have sold their souls to people they know don't accept them. Okay, um, it involves some type of true self-loathing that it's very sad. Very sad for them. Newsom activated the National Guard to assist at food banks. Okay, which particularly pissed off the president because Newsom does have control over the California National Guard, and he can do with them whatever he desires. Okay, and there's literally nothing Don the Con can do about it. So Newsom is having the National Guard serve and assist at California food banks. What a wonderful um, act to have them help out to assist the poor. And what it kind of does, it gives the National Guard a chance to see, people who are not doing great, um, who may be on the other side of the fence, right? And see just how human they truly are. They're not the bad guys. They're not boogeymen. They're just people who are just in unfortunate circumstances right now, right? So I admire Gavin Newsom in a lot of ways because he thinks outside the box, and he does things outside the box, and he's not above getting down and dirty, where sometimes you need to be in order for you to make a point. So good for him. Uh, Tucker Carlson came out. This is probably the second time, but this time was in a major way. He did it before back, I believe it was late last year. Um, but he's coming out and talking about specifically Republican sex parties that are going on in the nation's capital. And he's saying it is full of Republicans. He didn't even include Democrats in that. Um, he is really going after Republicans. Tucker Carlson. Gee, I told you guys, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but I did tell you guys back in like February, MAGA will turn on MAGA. And I've even added the point of MAGA violence on MAGA. But Republicans turning on each other, been telling you guys about that. It's going to get super duper ugly. And, Marjorie Taylor Greene still isn't letting up. She's really going full force. I saw her on the Matt Gaetz podcast. Just saw a clip of it. I don't watch him ever. But I saw a clip of that show, and whoa, even I was at the point was where I was thinking to myself, she's gonna be pissing some people off big time. But oh well, you know. Let's see. Oh, Miles Brunner. He's the GOP strategist and the digital. He was in charge of the digital fundraising leader. He left the Republican Party. Now he's encouraging others to do the same. This guy was super big in raising money for the GOP platform and for it to be on several social media outlets, right? And he was very good at it. He's a very powerful type of guy, and like a strategist, right? He's not playing. He's like, the Republican Party is trash. I don't identify with it anymore. But the funny thing is, now he's using his platform and what he knows, which is a lot in the digital world, okay, to uh, convey the message that Republicans are on the wrong side of history, and to try to persuade people um, to leave the party. That's his mission, he says. So, another one. Let's see. Kelly Ruh or Rube. I'm not sure of the last name. Let's see. Um, Resigned from treasurer of the GOP in Wisconsin. Let's see here. Ruh. It is Ruh. I don't know why I thought I had it wrong. RUH. But that's correct. Okay. Go me. Um, I personally want to give a shout out to Jeff Merkley for going on the House floor, speaking for a marathon, 22 hours plus, Democrat, just kind of giving all types of information, telling the truth about what's going on with this shutdown and the Republican shenanigans. And the one good thing that I found is that so many of his clips are being used now on a lot of the social media platforms, okay? So, you know, people get a breakdown of exactly what's going on. A lot of these Republicans look at Mike Johnson and they're thinking, those damn Democrats, how could they do this? Because let's face it, a lot of them, they're not going to do the research nor investigate, the truth, or even try to learn the truth. They're just going to listen to these guys who lie continuously. Okay? So, a lot of Jeff Merkley's what he spoke about during his time on the House floor, his marathon session, is being used, and people are being kind of enlightened and informed about what's really going on. So good for him doing that. Let's see. Over a third of ICE agents, right? Oh, not ICE agents, I'm sorry, recruits failed the physical and are unable to join ICE. And the funny thing is, I saw some of the requirements. It's like 15 sit ups. Uh, I think it's running less than a mile in a certain amount of time. They can't even do that. Okay. Um, you're getting like these guys that are just true couch potatoes trying to join ICE just because of their hatred for whomever and whatever, or they just want a job and not really thinking about the repercussions of what they're going to be doing, and they're just trying to join, and it's just not working out. They're being rejected left and right. And so they're having a real um, crises over there at ICE recruiting actual agents. And then don't forget, there's a lot of agents that already left. Okay? A lot. They decided, can't do this. Mm-mm. Cannot do this. Okay, let's talk about a few other things. Um, First of all, a couple people wrote in my comments on my last full video, not the short, but the full video. What do I think about ICE buying guided missiles? I got zilch on that. And so I went zilch as in intuitively, I got nothing, like nothing. Okay. So typically, when that happens, that means that it's just not there. So I went and kind of looked up and did a little due diligence. No, ICE did not buy um, guided missiles, okay, or any type of missiles. Um, what it actually was they were purchasing crowd determined um, type. They're not even really weapons. They're for like crowd disbursement and that type of thing. And every government, every state in this country has them. They just didn't really have them. But when they put the code in, it came up as missiles. And it was promptly rejected for their purchase because they are not the correct agency to purchase those type of guided missiles. And then, the code was corrected, and they were able to get the actual crowd disbursement materials that they needed. So, no, that's why I got nothing on that. Um, and it's not true. Okay? So, let's see. Here's another. Here's a question. If you don't mind answering this question, apeirophobia, the excessive or irrational fear or phobia of infinity, eternity, or endlessness, causing discomfort and panic attacks. Why would this happen from a spiritual standpoint? And basically, it is extremely hard for our brain, okay, to imagine itself or even envision a true sense of eternity, endlessness, expansiveness, um, and just infinity in general. Okay, so what happens is since the brain can't grasp it, it does its fight or flight thing and almost will contract on itself and produce that anxious feeling. Okay, I remember, um, I can tell you this, when I first had my near death experience, and then when I came back, okay, and I was back in the United States, and maybe it was like a month later, probably a good month and a half later, I'm laying in bed one night, and I truly allowed myself to think of that whole experience, okay? Before I would kind of take it in, I'll just say spurts. I thought of a piece of it here, a piece of it there. I was still in process mode, and I was in process mode of my experience for many, many, many years. Okay, that's why I don't understand sometimes when people come right back and just want to tell it all. I was unable to do that. I had to truly process it. But anyway, after about a month and a half of being back, and I'm laying in bed one night and I just kind of opened up my mind to the whole experience, and I felt that complete anxiousness. And about what I experienced and then what I was actually in. This limited physical experience or realm or whatever you want to call it. And it almost blew my mind, literally blew my mind. Okay. I couldn't I couldn't rectify it at first. And it was literally mind blowing. I got such severe anxiety about it. Okay. Um, and I had to, for a period of time after that, not even think about it. Just kind of push it out of my mind and just not really deal with it right then until I could pick it back up later, piece by piece. It is because it is so diametrically opposite each other, right? You know, um, thinking of the infinite and thinking of me as just pure consciousness, which I was during my experience, right? And then to come back here to a body and a a heart and dimension. I just couldn't blend the two right then. And so it is too much to bear. It is too much to bear. And all I know is that the way I kind of dealt with it was I had to not dwell on it and think about it for a period of time until I could ease it back into my thinking process. Okay, because it is definitely mind blowing, right? You know, so I don't know if that helps you or not, but I can certainly relate. I'll just put it that way. I can relate. All right. Let's see here. Oh, okay. So, the prediction about the uh, baseball I gave. Um, so it is down to two blue hats, and I don't even know the colors of. I know the colors of one of them now, but I don't know the color of the shade of the other blue hat. A friend of mine showed me one of the hats, and if you recall, my original prediction was I saw a blue hat first with red off to the side, and then and this was what 8 weeks ago, right? 2 months ago, and my friend showed me one of the hats was a blue hat with like a red something off to the side. Let's see what he sent me here. Uh, okay, it's a red. Oh, it's like a red leaf or something. Okay. So, do with that what you may. But we're at a point where it is gonna be a blue hat, for sure. Okay. Uh, Today, for our spiritual, um, kind of what we're gonna talk about and end with, I think I want to talk about, and I was given this, but it was sort of like I was given a couple things, and I could sort of decide. And I think I want to talk about what we decide before coming here. Okay, I wrote several things down, but I think that's kind of what I want to end with. Okay, first of all, the universe doesn't just throw things at us willy nilly. Okay, things just don't, happen like, hey, let's F with Vena today. Let's like throw this in her path and just see what the hell, how she acts. Or you know what? Psh, let's hit Nancy over here with this and just, we'll take Mark today. No, doesn't happen like that, okay? We purposely set up these energy type of paths for ourselves in coming here. And those energy, and that's for lack of a better word, okay? Um, that's what they mostly appear like to me, but they're kind of something even more than energy. They're so alive and they're so intelligent, these energy forces, and they're so divinely intelligent and they're so divinely wise and they're so um, perfect. They pulse at such a perfect beat, okay? And we set up these energy forces, okay, um, in our path. Um, and believe it or not, uh, our own specific chart, astrological chart, is a part of that, okay? It's actually a part of that. And that is why I have such a high respect and regard for astrology because it's extremely divinely scientific, extremely, but on a level that you can't imagine. The intelligence of the universe, the intelligence of um, the pulsing energy of the universe is so alive and so supremely intelligent. We can't fathom it here. We just can't fathom it. And our smartest person on earth can't even touch the super high intelligence of the pulse of the universe. Okay, so in setting up our lives, okay, because there are things that we want and we need to experience. There are things that we want to gather into our awareness, right? And we want to experience or we want to resolve, okay? And so we set up all of these different type of things, pulling in from this energy here and that person there and etc., and using all the props needed for this earthly life. And when I say props, I mean not only people but things. Is this house and this location going to help us? Yes. Okay, then somehow we're going to be able to obtain this house. Or is this apartment in this building the one that we need for this period of time, then okay, that's going to come into our path. And this car is going to be able to get us here, blah, blah, blah. Okay, then it's going to be part of our path, and etc., etc. All of these intelligent forces, energies at work that we set up before we come here. Okay? In order for us to work out what we want to do, not all of it is karmic, not all of it is payback. Some of it is just to experience, to understand, to fulfill us, to experience certain things. So you got all kind of a mix of these different energies going on. Okay, so when I say that we plan our lives, that is what I mean. And so when I tell you that, yes, this administration is doing some god-awful things, yes, but if it is not in that path or part of that energy, that pulse of energy that we set up, it is not going to affect us, and that is why we don't need to carry it. And if it does affect us, then it's supposed to, for some reason or another. We, our soul, are in charge of our path, of our life here, of our energy. We set up the props. We set up each and every prop, person, etc. for various reasons. We are not, just at the will of whatever. No. That is why, think about this. Twins, triplets, quadruplets, whatever, born at the exact same time, still lead different lives, different paths, different experiences, different circumstances, etc. And the reason is because they are different souls, different spirits, right? And so they have life paths that they need fulfilled. Okay? And so they have to live out those life paths. And that's why you have, people in families born with the exact same circumstances, etc., 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 still may live two totally different type of lives, right? Because they have their own paths that they have to fulfill. So we are not at the mercy of this life. We are fulfilling our path, our energy impulses that we have set up. And the more you understand that, the less you will feel pushed and pulled by what's going on here. And you can more so take much more charge over what you're going through, how you react, etc. Okay? So, in conclusion, all right, we are playing out a wonderful play with all these different props that show up in our life but it is designed by us, orchestrated by us, and originated by us, by our wonderful soul. And at any time, we can ask our soul, you know what? Help me with this, or help me understand why this is happening. And if we are truly open to understanding, the message, the answer will come through, will flow through. It will. All right, so, okay. Thanks for hanging out with me. Appreciate it. Again, I'll be back on soon. And I've been keeping my promise, haven't I? Yes, I have. So take care, people. And let's see what happens today, the 23rd, which is that other date that I was given. That something significant will happen on this date. All right? Take care, guys.